Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Welcome again to Straight Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki. And on Straight Talk, we deal with political, social, and economics here in Michigan, the U.S., and abroad. Now, joining me tonight,
Dennis Burnside,
Charles Thomas,
Paget Maynard.
All right, man, we got a whole bunch of stuff to cover here, but y'all brought up something going on in Mississippi.
Yeah, I think it's an example of the fascism that's taken root in many parts of the country. You saw two incidents last week that just exemplified. You had two black men at home in a part of town that historically used to be all white.
Okay.
And these two guys moved into this house. At least one of them moved there. I don't know if the other was a permanent resident.
Okay.
They're sitting there minding their own business. And the cops showed up on their doorstep with the search warrant, apparently, and came in and just beat and tortured these guys to within an inch of their life.
no body camera.
Yeah, of course, the body cameras didn't work, but they beat them up so bad they had to be hospitalized. They had them bloodied so bad that they made them strip naked and get in the shower. They used sexual toys on these guys. And after all this, no charges were filed. There was no probable cause to be there whatsoever other than just intimidation.
Terror.
Just terrorism, intimidation. And then on the other end of the spectrum, that was pure racism from a town in Mississippi that's renowned. And if you're renowned for being racist in Mississippi, brother, you're good at it.
Mm-hmm.
All right? And the chief of police, of course, feigned ignorance about the whole thing. He didn't know anything about this group of men being called the Goon Squad. They self-proclaim themselves to be the Goon Squad, so they're proud of themselves. Then you go up to a place called Marion, Kansas, and there's a police chief there who was under investigation by the local newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
You know what is specifically in the Constitution, the First Amendment, is being necessary to have local newspapers.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing an investigation on this cop, this police chief, where they had been given information to show that he resigned from his previous job just prior to him being demoted. Had people from that police force calling this local paper other police people and telling them how bad this guy was and how corrupt he was.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens? They come busting into the newspaper offices with a search warrant from a corrupt local Republican judge, and they go in there and they lay waste to this newspaper. They tear up the machines. They take computers. They destroyed software. They take cell phones. They take the little Alexa speaker. They took away cameras that they used to film from home when they can't make it into the office.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroyed this local newspaper, making it non-functional for all practical purposes. And the 90-year-old woman who ran and owned this paper was so stressed out by what happened, she collapsed and died the very next day.
Yeah.
So you have these people who say, you know what, the constitutional rights you have to the right of privacy, to free speech, are just too much for us. We can't have you black men and women living and assembling anywhere you want to and thinking that you're free. And we can't have you newspapers out there writing stories about things that are detrimental to our image, even though we may or may not be guilty of it. It's not a court of law, it's a newspaper.
Yeah.
We can't even have that information getting out, so we will come in there and act as criminals and barbarians and beat and destroy to prevent you from coming out. And this is always, I want someone to show me an example where it's not instigated by Republican right-wing actors.
I have a question.
They don't want democracy, they want fascism, and these are just two latest examples.
Right, that's what they call making America great again.
Yes.
Yeah.
They want to go backwards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were saying, Patrick?
I got a question for you, Dennis. You are telling us that this chief of police was behind the officers going into this newspaper
Yes. Yes.
so that the news, the reports couldn't come out about him.
Right. The report that they were working on,
Mhm.
and apparently they got wind of it. I don't know if they had published any initial pieces on it or had written an editorial letting the readers
Right.
know that this was forthcoming, but they found out about it.
Mm-hmm.
And when they found out about it, they went to one of their little pet right-wing judges who gave them a search warrant. Now, a search warrant...
Wait a second. Why
yes,
a
a search warrant is mandated that you have probable cause of a
Exactly.
crime.
Yeah.
And they went into this private business who was doing what the Constitution says, which is to put sunlight on crime.
Yeah.
Sunlight being the best
Right.
disinfectant.
Uh-huh.
And they went in there Nazi Germany style and destroyed this office. Also, they could not release the information to the public about the malfeasance of this so-called police chief, this Nazi.
Yeah.
And divulge what he was really up to and had been up to. And him, rather than standing up to his actions, did this, and he had a judge in town authorize it.
Right. Yeah. And
Why would, sorry, Chuck, why would a judge
Corrupt.
authorize a search warrant without probable cause?
Well,
what did these people do? What are they accusing them of? Nothing, but yet a search warrant?
Well,
Yeah.
if you got guys out there, buddies, I mean, no problem.
Yeah.
If you a lawyer or you got some business and I got some business, he got some business, we all buddies and everything. Hey, we see. Hey, they can't do that to me now.
Yeah.
So what? I mean, what was it? What was the judge gonna do?
Yeah.
Gonna let him? Gonna get him? It's like, we got to get them.
No,
Well,
just for
a
emphasis.
judge that had integrity.
Right.
A judge that stood up for the rule of law. A judge that stood up to her oath when she passed the bar and became an officer of the court,
Yes.
would say to them, without probable cause of a crime, I can't give you a search
Right.
warrant to go in there.
Right.
But she didn't require that, or either that, or she let them just blatantly lie. Say, it could have been a claim that there were drugs being seen, because we all deal
It could
drugs.
come
Yeah, yeah.
Matter of fact, man, make sure you get that 10 pounds of cocaine to my car before the show's over, all right?
Yeah.
Because we all deal drugs.
But that goes back to that harbor master too down there in the South.
Well, that's a little bit different angle. I
Yeah.
can take on that because, I've heard people say April 5th nowadays should be known as Cinco de Negro, because that's the day that black folks finally stood up and said, we're going to unite and we're going to stand together.
Yeah.
If you look at the reason why we have the Second Amendment, people, the way it's been corrupted and distorted and bastardized for modern usage is the Second Amendment gives us all an individual right to bear arms. That is not what it said.
No.
And it's not how it was interpreted
No.
until 2004 or 5 by Justice Scalia, may
Yep.
he rest in hell. Prior to that, well-regulated militia was
Yep.
the emphasis.
Yeah.
And the reason why they wanted a well-regulated militia is because they wanted to make sure that these black folks on these plantations who were enslaved didn't get together
Right.
and start an insurrection
Yeah.
or act in a way that was contrary to the powers that be, the white supremacy standards. So now, what you see here is black folks on August 5th rather, in Montgomery, Alabama, stand up and say, damn it, this is one brother here that you ain't gonna beat up.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna beat him up, you ain't gonna lynch him, you ain't gonna do whatever you want to him unless you come through me.
Right.
So you had a young brother, 16-year-old kid who worked on the riverboat with the co-captain, and the captain was merely doing his job trying to get them to
Right.
move
Yeah, with
their little pontoon boat out of the way so he could dock. He went after them, he debated with these guys for 45 minutes. Man,
Right.
move your stuff, man,
Yeah.
move your stuff. Finally he did it himself,
Right.
and of course he had to be all kind of N-words and receiver punches. So black people came together
Right.
and they whooped that ass. Now, of course, all kind of threats are going out there. They ready to get the guns out.
Yeah.
They're ready to start a civil war. And I've heard some black commentators say, we ought to really be careful before we celebrate what happened on August 5th, because this could be the start of a massacre. There's people out there right now who said, all right, they're giving us permission to shoot now. They're fighting back.
Right, yeah.
They're
Well,
aggregating.
They
acting
building
as
it
one.
up.
Yeah.
Did you see this guy, what's his name? He is. He is a senator, I think, but was talking about having some kind of a civil war,
Oh yeah, it's been a
all
lot of
about with the connected with the election and Trump and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Never mind, I had to use the name to know how it go. But this is something they are planning
And hoping for.
and looking forward to that to happen so that they can do what they want to do.
Yeah. Yeah, they're licking their chops for civil unrest. They want violence in the street.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Yeah.
their nature.
Yeah. But the thing is that I was really glad when these other people come down and help to whoop.
Whoop the
I,
racists.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah.
some of that.
You know,
yes,
You
it
know,
was a good whooping.
I don't know where they come from, but
Yeah.
so
they, they didn't show any violence. The brother was just pushing. I didn't see no fist being thrown. They
Well,
were
I-
just trying to, get the people back. Separate them. And even two white women was in the
Oh, there
mix.
was plenty
yeah,
fists.
I
It
seen
was. I didn't see it.
I seen some
Oh, yeah.
pictures.
Oh yeah,
Well, it's
man.
good.
I see woman running
you
and
thought
show their
Bernard
fist too.
Hopkins and
Yeah.
Bud and Spence and everybody else that's
Yeah,
a pro
yeah.
boxer was there 'cause they put
Yeah.
hands on these
Yeah.
cats.
Yeah.
What was the
But-
deal with the chair?
Well, if you want to talk about what happened, man, when the riverboat captain told these guys they finally had to move, one of them came up out of the blue
Yeah.
and just blasted him, right?
Yeah.
Knocked him to the ground. Just before that, he had said, all right, that's enough, threw his hat up.
Yeah.
And this cat knocked him to the ground, 6 of them.
Yeah.
Started kicking and punching.
Right.
And then another brother came down the ramp and he
Right.
tried to break up the fight, but by that time the young cat who had swam across the river to get
Yeah.
there, another black man joined in, and all of a sudden it was an evil fight. And all of a sudden these bullies didn't want all that smoke
Right,
anymore.
right, and they took off.
and they took some L's.
Yeah.
They took some L's to the eye, they took some L's to the jaw, they took some shots to the head from folding chairs. A couple of chicks who was fighting got thrown in the river, got knocked down. It's not what you want to see as far as resolution of a dispute. But when people are putting their hands on you, damn it, you got a right to defend
Yeah.
yourself. And
Yeah.
you got a right to put hands
And you
back
better.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you better do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, man, I think it's a situation that we're getting into where it could turn ugly real fast, and you got people chomping at the bit, hoping that it gets ugly.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
some of the people
If you
instigating
please.
stuff.
Yeah.
If you please, this has some political overtones.
Of course it
And
does.
it is setting up everything for next November's election,
Yeah.
next year November election.
Yeah.
Because we have heard enough
Yeah.
of what's going on now with these cases, and of course, he has to talk. So we can read between the lines if we need to. And you can read the tea leaves, as they say. He is talking to his people in a way to rouse them up again, like
Like
January
he's threatening his judge.
6th,
He's threatening his judge.
and it's going that way.
Yeah. Yeah. And you better register to vote.
Yes.
Well,
Melanin people.
well, that's the thing, I'm just hoping that we got guy from Connecticut, and what's his name, Lieberman,
Yeah. Christie.
Lieberman, and some guy
They're not
from
going to get too far.
but
They're not gonna get
but
far.
So what's your point?
but the thing is, they'll be able to take votes away from each one, but they figure that they'll take votes away from Biden, more votes away from Biden than they will from Trump. That's what they figure.
Well, the third party effect is real. Jill Stein took more votes away from Hillary Clinton
In
than
Michigan
Trump
in
beat her
particular.
by in Michigan, in Wisconsin, and several other swing states that flipped to Trump unexpectedly, Pennsylvania. So the third party candidate did have a detrimental effect.
Same
so
thing
now
with
you've
Gore
got Cornel
versus
West,
Bush.
you've got Robert Kennedy Jr.,
Yeah.
that weirdo. You've got people running now as third party candidates, and they could, to your point, do enough damage to the Democratic candidate to throw the vote over to the Republicans. I don't know that it's going to be Trump. because Trump is in real trouble. He's got a January 6th trial in Florida where the evidence is overwhelming. The only thing he has going for them is he has a placated and complicit Judge Cannon down there doing everything she can to slow it down
Yep.
and keep him out of jail. But you also have the, that's a documents case. But then you have the January 6th case coming out of Washington, D.C. being run by Jack Smith and with Judge Chutkan, who is not playing games with these guys.
Right.
None of these delaying tactics are working. None of these made-up issues to try to take the trial off its rails are working. She said to them Friday night, she told them Friday evening, if Trump keeps up with all this running his mouth and issuing threats, we're going to not only take action to prevent that, we're going to speed up the date of the trial because we've got to do that to keep people safe.
Yeah.
Of course, Sunday night, this morning, 12:30 a.m., 1 a.m., Trump goes out there and he issues more crazy claims against Jack Smith, the prosecutor, so he could very well be seeing some serious time. And then, of course, you've got the New York trial coming up. So Trump is in a world of hurt, and I think I'd bet you $2 donut he's not going to be the Republican candidate for the office. It'll be someone else. He'll do well not to be in prison by November next year.
By the way, you got to also think in that same case, the 14th Amendment, Section 3, could well be in play, which means he could never run for office again. He can never hold any governmental job or anything like that. So I was hoping they would come out plain and say it, but there's sufficient implication that he can be considered a treasonous person.
The whole thing is, though, if these other people wasn't jumping into the race and everything, and my man Cornell, I used to care for him a little bit, but after I seen him on the old Fox Channel 2 times, him and this other guy, and what he was talking about, that's the thing was, and now he's coming into the race talking about, he ain't the one of them doing anything. You gonna say Biden haven't done anything?
Listen.
I mean, how could you come into it and say, hey, haven't neither one of them done anything?
The highest GDP since World War II.
Yep.
The highest black employment in history.
Yep.
Lowest unemployment records since the 60s.
Yep.
Wall Street has all-time highs, never done better. The economy is just boiling along.
Yep.
Inflation is down. What's Cornel West running on?
He says, haven't either one of them done anything?
Right. So what's nothing if those things are in place?
Right.
So I could dig it if Cornel West was coming in there as a progressive who wanted more left-wing, pro-union, pro-working class economic policies or a less aggressive foreign policy. But you got both of those things now, and I don't see what he is running on other than the fact that he wants to do, because he knows he's not going to get elected.
Right.
He's already lost the majority of his loyalty among black people just because of the way he criticized Obama for years. So he knows he's not going to win.
He's
so
simply
if he's
trying
not in
to
this
muddy
to be a
the
spoiler,
waters.
why is he in here?
And it's spoiler. Yeah.
That's his full purpose.
Yeah.
But my thing is, Donald Trump should be trying to get out of prison. Instead of wasting money on these trials and all that, because they put this Marine straight in prison for selling information. You cannot declassify classified information, and you can't spread it around and show it to people. The man at least should have a tether on it or something.
You're right, man. A reality winner. There's been other people who had one document that they stole and had in their possession, and they were jailed until their trial. They were tried, they were convicted, and they were sentenced to prison, 4 to 8 years in one case. And here Trump's running around still running his mouth. So that's exemplary of the two-tier justice system.
You know something?
Three-tier. But I tell you what's really interesting now to me is Well, before I go there, go ahead, Pat. You going to say something?
No, let me get this thing out. Go ahead.
Well, the thing that's really interesting to me is now what's going on with Hunter Biden. All we've been here for the last 5-6 months is Hunter Biden this, Hunter Biden that. Now, last time I looked, Hunter Biden wasn't president. He wasn't a congressman. He wasn't in the Senate. He wasn't a governor.
Private
he wasn't
citizen.
a state.
He
he wasn't even a dog catcher.
No.
He's a private citizen who has a famous last name and he's got a drug problem. And he did some stupid stuff. And if he committed crimes, throw his butt in prison. I don't give a damn. It don't affect me one way or another any more than it affects anybody else who's been convicted of a crime, except for the fact that it gives me a chance to live in a society where the rule of law is supreme. But here's the thing that's really interesting to me, Chuck. Ted Cruz, Jim Class Jordan, the ex-prostitute Boebert, Barney Rubble, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You go on down the list of all these right-wing Republicans. We gotta get Weiss from the Justice Department to lead an investigation against Hunter Biden, week after week. Not only did they want this investigation, they wanted this specific prosecutor to go after Hunter Biden. They've been whistling past the cemetery for 6, 7, 8 months. So finally the dog caught the car and they've got their special counsel investigation. Merrick Garland with his weak milquetoast ass. He gave them what they wanted. They got the investigation, and now they don't want it. They not only don't want the investigation, they especially don't want Weiss to run it, because here's what's going to happen. Here's what's going on. You got two things. You're going to have a revealing of the crime or crimes, and you're going to have a chance to juxtapose it to other presidents' children and what they did. Now, here's the problem. Hunter Biden, man, may or may not be convicted or ruled culpable of crime by the Justice Department. But in doing so, they're going to open up a whole lot of closed doors and Pandora's boxes that they really don't want to open. So now that they've got it, they don't want it. Now they're talking about, we don't want Weiss, we don't want this investigation, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, they can do this 180-degree turn, and the viewers at home from Fox News will scratch their head, ask Martha to give them another beer while they figure out why they changed, because last week, and then they'll go along with it.
Whatever.
But here's the other part of the problem. We're just finding out that Jared Kushner, the P.D. Wheatstraw, the devil's son-in-law, you know, if you know your Dolomite, had a hedge fund funded after going all over the world looking for money, being turned down by everyone, including the Saudi Arabia Sovereign Fund, who said, man, look, player, you don't have the qualifications to run a hedge fund. We can't give you a penny. But MSB, the dictator of Saudi Arabia came in, Ben Salman came in and said, yeah, we'll give you the money. So now he has $3.1 billion in this hedge fund. All of it, except for 1%, comes from the Saudi Wealth Management Fund. And then we've seen in report after report where conservative Republican financial people are saying, look, man, it's very, very unusual for anyone to get any of their investment from one source to the tune of more than 5 or 10%. 10%, that's a lot. This cat's got like 97, 98%, 99% of his money coming in from the Saudi Arabian government. And they want to talk about Hunter Biden? Let's talk about presidents and their sons and being culpable.
And daughters.
And then his daughter. She goes over to China and gets copyright to the tune of hundreds of millions. So let's have this
in
debate.
a few months.
But they only selling themselves.
Of course, but let them. If they want to be prostitutes, let them. But if you want to talk about some type of conflict of interest among a president's child, and your example is Hunter Biden, cool. I'll see you, Hunter Biden, and I'll raise you one Ivanka and one Jared Kushner. And let's see who comes out on top of this argument. So now that we're here, they don't want it anymore. You know, they don't want all that smoke.
And now I know last week they was talking about some of the people, Republican, well, we trying to get the head of this thing, because I mean, it's like, get the head of what, you know? they are trying to push this thing on and on and on, further as they can, to voting,
Hey man, I analogize it to the abortion issue. They just, oh, Roe v. Wade, Roe v. Wade, we got to get Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
Now they got rid of Roe v. Wade and it's biting them in the butt.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They wanted Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
Now they got Hunter
got
Biden
him.
and then they're scared of it.
Yeah.
And look, man, I know we're running out of time, and we can't leave without talking about the climate. We've got wildfires going on right now, burning up millions of acres in Canada. That hasn't stopped just because the smoke isn't drifting this way anymore, and we don't have our lives disrupted by Canada, West Africa, and now Hawaii. The place I went for my honeymoon with my ex-wife, Lahaina, is gone.
Right.
It's totally destroyed. Now, when I was there, this was 1994. I remember the locals telling me that the reason why the west side of the island was a little drier and the east side of the island was all lush and tropical with the waterfalls and the plants and everything that you associate with what Hawaii looks like is because of this volcano in the middle and the winds coming in, and they made the rain and the water patterns what they are. That's been destroyed by climate change. And now you've got entire areas that have been burned to the ground, lost forever because of climate change. And we had 98-degree temperatures on top of the Andes Mountains last week. It's wintertime down there. We had a 109-degree day in Siberia in July. We have some serious problems, and you got people still denying. And riding around in their 8-wheel Ford 150 with Trump stickers on there, talking about don't let these winds take away my gasoline. You know what I mean, man? Really?
There's ignorance, ain't it?
You got children and grandchildren you care about.
There's been 200 tremors in Yellowstone. And that's a super volcano.
Man, the climate is it's past warning us. It's now manifesting the warnings that the science gave us in the late 90s, early 2000s, that if we don't change our ways, we're in for a catastrophe. Hell, Shell and British Petroleum had studies back in the early 60s that said all this release of the carbon dioxide gas into the atmosphere will have a detrimental effect on the weather. But they'd rather make the money and be citizens in a rich community and have a membership in an exclusive country club and plan for the future.
The tundra is thawing out and is releasing
methane gas, which could kill us all. You had a case up in Greenland, Chuck, where they said that the methane gas is being now released at such a rapid point that there's no way to stop it. And as it releases more, it makes the temperature hotter, which melts more of the ice, which releases more of the methane gas, which we're in trouble.
It's all connected.
And the water, all the water's coming from it, So, it's really, somebody was saying the week before last or the week before then that all we can do now is try to stop some of the things that's happening, because they were saying that everything now is running overboard, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, but anyway, our time's up. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki, and we'll catch you down at the next block for more Street Talk. Peace.
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.